CNN's Denver affiliate, KMGH, is reporting that the psychiatrist who was treating the suspected gunman, James Holmes, was concerned that he could be a danger to others or to himself. So she contacted her school's behavioral evaluation and threat assessment team. The team apparently, though, never acted on Dr. Fenton's concerns because Holmes was in the process of dropping out of school. Brett Sokolow is a specialist in campus safety and security, also the executive director of the National Behavioral Intervention Team Association. Nice to see you, sir. Thank you for talking with us. Appreciate it. To trigger the team being notified by the psychiatrist, the James Holmes would have to have done something, right? He'd have to do something specific, take some specific threats. If that's the case, why was that never translated and transmitted to the police, as far as we know?
Morning, Soledad. I think at this point we know that information may have gotten to this team on CU's campus called the Beta. And so the question is whether that information came from Dr. Fenton, who was the psychiatrist who was treating him, to the team, or originated from some other source, and Dr. Fenton, who was a member of the team, was consulted about it. And so if the information did come from Dr. Fenton to the team, it would have been under a duty to warn situation, or what is referred to often as a Tarasoff situation, where there's an imminent threat made to specific individuals by a patient to a mental health provider, at which point the mental health provider would notify authorities. So I'm not so sure we were there, because there's no evidence that we know of at this point that Dr. Fenton notified law enforcement authorities or any specific individuals who are at risk. She took the information to the team, which suggests to me a possible lower threshold if, in fact, the information did come from her about Holmes to the Beta on the campus.
So if there is, I guess for me the question is a sort of sense of red flagging. This Beta team is interested in protecting, obviously, everything in and around the university. But the bigger question becomes if, in fact, that process was stopped because Holmes was dropping out of school, what happens to the red flagging to the rest of the greater community? Is there any necessity to involve the police?
Well, and I think that's the important point here, is that if a student is under the attention of a team, has come to their attention, and then decides to withdraw, stops attending classes, drops off the radar screen in some way, that may be a safety factor for the campus. It may mean there's a separation and the individual may not impact the campus, but it could also mean that it's the separation that's the precipitating factor that puts the campus at risk. And so one of the things we do is advise teams all over the country that when an individual is separated from the community, either by the school or separates themselves, that still may be an area of monitoring, and it still may be an opportunity for continued communication with local resources, including law enforcement entities. So if, in fact, it happened here, we don't know that it did, but if it did happen here, that the team said, well, we just lost jurisdiction over him once he left campus, that probably is a seriously missed opportunity. And most teams around the country know that that's an opportunity where they really want to be keeping an eye on someone better.
And one would think would raise a lot of questions about liability, ultimately. Brett Sokolow joining us this morning. Thanks for that. I have a feeling we're going to be talking a lot more about this as more information comes out. As Brett pointed out, there's a lot we do not know about this Beta